If you're going to Disney World for the first time ever this year, or you need a general refresher on some insider planning secrets because FYI a lot has changed, then stay tuned because today we're covering everything you're going to need to know if you're totally new to the Disney World vacation scene here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. When you first decide to go on a Disney World vacation, everything feels so exciting, but once you start the planning process, things can take a 180 real quick, from exciting to overwhelming. And that's why we're here to make sure the planning stays fun and doesn't cause you a whole lot of unnecessary stress. Today we're going to talk about the basic tips and tricks you'll need to know to make sure your first Disney World trip is the perfect Disney World trip. If you want to make sure you have today's list of insider secrets handy as you plan your vacation, make sure to send us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/firsttrip2023. Not only will we send you a free PDF of everything we talk about today, but we'll also get you all signed up for our DFB newsletter, which means we'll be able to send you even more insider tips and tricks and news and savings opportunities leading up to your big trip. All right, so first thing to know, Disney World isn't just the place with Cinderella Castle. It is so much more. Walt Disney World is 4 theme parks. Magic Kingdom, that's the original. Epcot, which has the icon that looks like a giant golf ball, but it's actually called Spaceship Earth. And Epcot's got World Showcase with 11 different countries. Next, you've got Disney's Hollywood Studios, the park that drops you right into some of your favorite film franchises and has a ton of different thrill rides for you to experience. And finally, you've got Animal Kingdom, which is kind of like one big zoo with ample opportunities to see rare wildlife up close and in person, while also riding epic rides and trying unique snacks. Disney also has 2 water parks, Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. Now, Typhoon Lagoon is currently closed for renovations till the foreseeable future, so if you're planning on visiting soon and you desperately need a water park, you're going to have to turn to Blizzard Beach. Disney's got their own shopping district too, called Disney Springs, which provides not just gift shops, but tons of different dining options and a variety of entertainment that you're not going to find in the parks, ranging from free outdoor performances to premium tethered hot air balloon rides and a lot more. Then there are dozens of different Disney World hotels you can stay in directly on property, ranging between value, moderate, and deluxe price ranges, but we'll focus more on those a little later on. In short, Disney World is huge. The size of San Francisco, 2 Manhattan Islands. It's massive, so you're not going to be able to do everything in a single day. In fact, it's near impossible to do everything in a week, so you're going to have to pick and choose which restaurants, rides, and experiences you're going to want to prioritize, and figure out the best ways to maximize your time in each park. But lucky for you, we're going to be going over how to do just that, all in today's video, starting with our very next point. Let's talk about getting a guaranteed seat for the most popular rides. Time to hit you with a big old reality check, because Disney World ain't all sunshine and pixie dust all the time. Disney's packed. Even in slower seasons, you may still find some ride lines to get up to 30 plus minutes, but during busy seasons like extended weekends, spring break, the middle of summer vacation, and Christmas, ride lines are going to be unbearable. Now, there are a few good ways to cut down on your waits for rides even during those peak times of the year, including getting into the park when it first opens. That's called rope drop, because they used to and sometimes still drop a literal rope to let people into the park. You can choose to ride during show times or during fireworks, and waiting to hop on some of those heavy hitter rides until the very end of the night, as well as a couple of other options I'll get into in the next few points. But the best way to bypass those queue lines is going to be through something called Disney Genie Plus. This is a planning tool. It starts at $15 per day per ticket. If you pay for this service, you'll be able to book what's called lightning lanes, or essentially shorter lines than the main lines, throughout the day for over 40 attractions. You can select one lightning lane at a time throughout the day, but not every attraction will be available through Genie Plus. Some highly popular attractions, like the most popular rides in all 4 parks, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, Flight of Passage, and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, and possibly Tron coming up here, will not be listed on Genie Plus or be included in your blanket payment for the day. Instead, if you want to use the lightning lanes for those attractions, you'll need to pay for them individually, which will be priced per person per single ride through, and it'll change every day. Guests will only be able to get a maximum of 2 individual lightning lanes per day. Now, Genie Plus is a lot to take on when you're new to the parks. To be frank, it's still a lot for us to take on, and our reporters are in the parks every single day. But once you figure out this premium line bypassing service, it can be one of your biggest assets to skipping over potentially hour-long plus wait times. I don't want to bombard you too much with Disney Genie all at once, so I'll link our updated Genie page from the DFB website in the description down below, and that'll go over all the details and extra questions you need answered. Don't worry, we're not done with Genie Plus yet for this video, but let's take a breather from all that lightning lane talk for now and discuss something equally as important, if not more so. When to go. Not every season will be the best season to go to Disney World. Each time of year has its specific pros and cons, which we go over in depth during our best times to go to Disney World in 2023 video that you can check out after this. But for now, here's a quick overview of what a year in Disney World looks like for guests. At the start of the year, during the winter season, crowds dwindle down after the New Year's celebration wraps up. Temperatures tend to be much cooler in Orlando around January and February, but with those cooler temps, you may also run into a handful of rides and experiences that'll be undergoing renovations and won't be open during your visit. Not a lot of them, but water rides and things like that. When spring rolls around, the crowd levels start to spike for spring break. We expect those crowds to be even worse once April rolls in, but for reasons we'll talk about later on. They're good reasons, but the crowds will still be pretty overwhelming at the beginning of April this year. In the summer, crowds fluctuate throughout June and July, but drop down by mid-August when school is back in session. Those August crowds can be way more manageable, but heed my warning, the summer temperatures are not to be trifled with. It is very hot. The fall weather can still prove to be roasty toasty, but as you get into November, things start to cool down a bit. September is a rather uncrowded month in the parks. Once you hit Thanksgiving week in November, crowds are back at an all-time high. And speaking of the holiday season, crowds really don't die down too much after Thanksgiving since the parks will be at 100% in Christmas mode. December tends to be the busiest time of year in Disney World, especially the week right between Christmas and New Year's. But for many guests, it's still worth navigating around the seas of people to experience the parks all lit up and decked out with their specialty holiday offerings. Next thing to know, you need to start planning now. As in, right now. The clock is ticking. If you're planning on going to Disney World soon, you're going to have to start thinking about those Disney World reservations ASAP. There are a few different reservations you're going to have all figured out before your trip. First, those park pass reservations. In addition to purchasing your theme park tickets, you're also going to need to make park pass reservations for which specific days you're planning on visiting which parks. Park reservations are free, but mandatory. Disney will remind you immediately after you purchase your tickets to go ahead and make those park pass reservations, so don't skip out on that extra step. Magic Kingdom and Disney's Hollywood Studios are the two parks that tend to fill up the fastest, and yes, they do sell out. So try to make your park pass reservations at least 1 to 2 months in advance to guarantee your spot in the parks. The next reservations you're going to want to think about right away are advanced dining reservations. Even if you're traveling during a less crowded season, it's a good idea to make advanced dining reservations for your meals. You can make dining reservations at most Disney World sit-down restaurants up to 60 days in advance. But get this, Disney World Resort hotel guests can make reservations up to 60 days in advance, plus the length of their stay up to 10 days, giving resort guests a leg up on the competition for those popular restaurants. Dining reservations go live on the Disney World website starting around 5:30 to 5:45 a.m. Eastern each day. And yes, my Mountain Time friends, that means they're going to be going live at 3:30 a.m. for you folks out there. You don't have to wake up that early to guarantee all of your dining plans, but for more popular restaurants like Space 220 in Epcot, Cinderella's Royal Table in Magic Kingdom, Ohana at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, maybe Chef Mickey's at Disney's Contemporary Resort, definitely Storybook Dining over at Wilderness Lodge, the earlier you can get online and book those reservations, the better off you're going to be. And of course, your hotel reservations. Though Disney World has a ton of different resorts to choose from, rooms have the tendency to book up or at least be sort of oddly unavailable at times, especially during peak times of the year. So if you don't want to be stuck overpaying for one of the leftover rooms, plan to book your stay at least 3 months before your trip. And let's add in extra experiences. This last category isn't mandatory or anything, but if there are any tours or special courses or dining parties that you want to tack on to your trip, and you can find the full list of these on the Enchanting Extras webpage on the Disney World website or in our book, The DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining, you'll need to get those reservations all figured out before you go. Some Enchanting Extras might have walk-up availability on the day of your visit, but it's best not to leave things up to chance if you really want to experience something, like one of the professionally led painting classes, or getting a haircut on Main Street USA in Magic Kingdom, or maybe going to a dessert party to see the fireworks. Those are things you're going to want to think about beforehand and book as early as you can. Our next tip for you, if you're new to Disney World or haven't been there in a while, is how to save tons of money on food. Now, I know we're called Disney Food Blog for a reason. We love dining around all the different restaurants that the parks have available, but we also know dining at Disney can be way expensive. If you want to save money on your food budget, you may want to bring your own food into the parks with you. Disney is totally fine with you packing your own snack or brown bag lunches into your park bag, just as long as your food doesn't require heating, reheating, processing, refrigeration, or any kind of temperature control. Food inside glass containers is also a big no-go for Disney, so make sure any baby food you bring with you is transferred into a plastic Tupperware or reusable container instead. So what food do we like to bring to the parks on days we're not planning on eating at a restaurant? Well, we're big on sandwiches and Uncrustables. They're easy and filling and satisfying. Crackers like Goldfish or Ritz or the peanut butter filled ones help curb the salty cravings and get you a little bit of protein. Fruit like cuties, mandarin oranges, freeze-dried strawberries, applesauce packets, that can help satisfy a pesky sweet tooth. And if you want things that'll sustain you for longer, look for trail mixes with plenty of nuts, beef jerky, protein bars. In terms of beverages, you can bring in a variety of things, including water bottles, sodas, juice boxes, but absolutely no outside alcohol. And again, no glass. If you're interested in learning about more ways to save on Disney World dining, check out our Can We Eat for Under $20 a Day in Disney World video, because we talk about it all in there. Every way to save money on food is in that video. And we've also got a full chapter on budgeting for your dining in our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining 2023 guide. You can find that over at dfbstore.com. Use code YouTube to get a discount. And now, as promised, let's get back to the Disney hotels, because you're going to need to know the best accommodations to book ahead of time. And now we're going to talk a little bit about why you should and shouldn't stay at a Disney World hotel, because I know that's a really, really hard question for people who have never been there. It's hard to answer because it's really expensive to stay there. There are several reasons why you might want to stay at a Disney-owned hotel. There's free transportation to the parks, a huge perk. There's top-tier service from the resort cast members who are legitimately the heart and soul of the Disney company, period. Free parking, that's a perk that recently returned to the hotels that could be super beneficial if you're planning on driving. And of course, the all-encompassing Disney theming, which will be vastly different depending on where you stay. Not to mention, all Disney World Resort guests will be able to use the early theme park entry benefit, which is going to allow you to enter into any of the parks on any day 30 minutes before they open for everyone else, as long as you have a park pass. So that's a great way to get ahead of the crowds even sooner. And if you choose to stay at a deluxe resort, that's one of the most expensive ones, you'll also have a bonus perk called extended evening hours that'll let you stay in select parks on certain days up to 2 hours after the parks close for everyone else, meaning way shorter ride lines for even the most popular attractions. Now, I know this all sounds fabulous so far, but there are also some reasons why you might not want to stay in a Disney World hotel. The biggest reason being the cost. You'll more than likely find better savings, potentially more space, at a non-Disney owned hotel rather than a Disney owned one. In fact, if you book a room with one of Disney's Good Neighbor hotels, you could wind up finding a cheaper room and still receive several of the same benefits that guests get while staying at a Disney owned resort. It's just going to take a little research to find out which room options will benefit you and your group the most. But here are 2 places you can start. Check out the full list of hotels that partner with Disney World on the Good Neighbor Hotels website, and watch the Best Disney Hotels in 2023 video that's on our channel right now for a full list of Disney-owned resorts we think may be worth your time and money this year. Now, we've established that Disney World is a pretty expansive place. 42 square miles. It's huge. You might be wondering how on earth you're going to navigate all of that property, especially if you're trying to make it from one park to another before your dining reservation window arrives. So deep breaths. Let's talk about how we're going to get to our reservations quickly. So Disney's got its own free transportation service for all resort guests, and the most prominent service is the Disney buses, which take you to the parks, the resorts, the water parks, the Disney Springs shopping district, etc. But you've also got options like the Skyliner, the monorail, and the riverboats too, depending on where you currently are on property. Now here's the downside to those free services. They can be very slow. This is particularly true for the buses. If you're trying to get to the parks at the start of the day, or you're trying to leave the parks at the end of the night, you're going to run into a large crowd of guests who are all attempting to do the same thing. Even in the afternoon, when bus crowds aren't as bad, you could still run into some slow issues since the buses won't run as frequently around that time of day. If you don't have extra time to wait on Disney transportation to get you where you need to go because the clock is ticking and your dining reservation is coming up soon and you just had to ride Splash Mountain one more time, then you may be better off using Disney's premium rideshare service, the minivans. So this is basically Lyft and Uber, except the cars look like Minnie Mouse. Minivans provide a direct and private ride from one location to another around Disney World. So what are the benefits of booking a minivan versus a regular Uber or Lyft? Well, minivans are actually run by Lyft, so benefit number one is basically that you already have the app on your phone. They also offer up to 2 car seats for no extra charge, and they'll pick you up at the front of the parks, near to where the Disney buses are located. Added bonus, they play Mickey shorts for the kids while you're riding around property, and that is pretty fun. You'll be able to book a minivan directly through the Lyft app, and when opening the app while on property, you'll select your destination, any destination within the Disney bubble, because they only go there, and then when confirming your pickup location, choose Select Minivan, and you'll see little minivans driving around on your map. Now, the next thing you need to know about Disney World, prices are expensive, but you already knew that. They can also be tricky. Disney World prices are about as predictable as the weather patterns. You may have an idea that it's going to rain later on in the week, but you don't know how much rain you're going to get until that week is actually upon you. The same could be said about some of the surge pricing that you're going to find on your Disney vacation. You might know prices are going to go up, but how much they increase is yet to be determined. For those of you unfamiliar with the surge pricing trend sweeping the Disney parks, it basically means that there isn't a set cost for some of the price points you'll find on vacation. Instead, the prices change based on expected demand, becoming more expensive when demand is high and cheaper when demand is low. Some surge prices, like Genie Plus, individual lightning lanes, and even the minivans we were just talking about, change daily, sometimes hourly. While other surge prices, like theme park tickets, park hopper add-ons, and hotel rooms, can be determined in advance but are still subject to change if you haven't purchased them by the time you get there. So is there still a way to save money on these ever-fluctuating costs? Sure there is. Think back to what we talked about at the beginning of this video. Some seasons of Disney World are slower than others, and when seasons are slow, prices decrease. So if you want to try to plan a trip around when Disney's parks will be at their predicted cheapest, you may want to aim for sometime around the end of August or during the month of September. If that time frame doesn't work for you, another way to potentially save the big bucks is by planning your trip on the weekdays instead of the weekends. Oftentimes we see prices increase for hotels and tickets booked on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays may have cheaper ranges, so you won't have to pay top dollar during whatever time you decide to visit. Now it's time to talk about the new stuff that's on the horizon. There's a lot that's coming to Disney World very, very soon that could potentially affect your trip, for better or for worse. If you want to check out everything slated to arrive in Disney World in 2023, be sure to watch our Big Changes Come into Disney World video when you get the chance. But for now, let's talk about some specific release dates we know for sure are happening. First up, Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration will be coming to a close on March 31st, but that doesn't mean the parks are slowing down. Epcot's current nighttime spectacular, Harmonious, will be going away after April 2nd, and a temporary show, Epcot Forever, will be taking over starting April 3rd. April 2nd will also be the last performance of Disney Enchantment over in Magic Kingdom, which will be replaced by the returning fan favorite Happily Ever After fireworks show, featuring all new Main Street projections starting on April 3rd. And Tron Light Cycle Run, the new roller coaster in Magic Kingdom, will be opening April 4th. So lots is happening over in the Epcot Magic Kingdom scene. So if this particular timeline falls smack dab during your upcoming vacation, here's what you need to keep in mind. Magic Kingdom will be packed. I'm talking crowds to the heavens, people. This will be a time you're going to need to get park pass reservations ASAP. And if you want to ride the rides without waiting 60 plus minutes for everything, this is the time to purchase Genie Plus. Epcot will also be pretty packed. I'm predicting that Epcot Forever's return isn't going to draw nearly as intense of crowds as Happily Ever After will, but I still expect a lot of folks to come out for the final showing of Harmonious. You'll also need to study up on virtual queues. In order to get on Tron Light Cycle Run for free, you will have to enter into a virtual queue, something you'll be able to find on the My Disney Experience app, aka a planning tool we'll talk about in greater depth here in a second. Disney uses virtual queues to make sure the lines for new rides don't get hiked up to 6+ hours. But that being said, spots for the virtual queues do fill up fast. So if you want to guarantee a spot in the virtual queue for you and your group, or at least improve your chances of getting one, I'll link our in-depth post about the boarding group system down in the description below. Now, Disney has not confirmed that they will use a virtual queue for Tron, but we're pretty sure they will, so good to learn about it anyway. So yeah, March, April, that time frame is going to be a wild time, and if you're new to the Disney World scene, it might be even more overwhelming than you originally expected it to be. If you're able, you may want to plan for an earlier or later date to wait out these intense early April crowds. However, if you plan on bracing yourself against the masses anyways, we've got an entire video with 50 different ways to navigate around times of the year when Disney is just way too packed out for its own good, so you can have a fun time regardless. All right, now I've alluded to this next tip a few times, and it's important to go through it all here. How to buy your way onto the rides. So now that I'm scaring you with all the crowd talk, this might be a good time to start talking about Genie Plus again. Now, Genie Plus isn't just good to have on hand when crowds are at their peak, though I definitely say that's the number one reason to get it. You may also want to have these line bypassing privileges if you're planning a super short Disney getaway and you want to make sure you hit as many rides as you can in the limited amount of time that you have. Also, if you have younger kids in your party that'll get squirmy and cranky waiting in longer lines, and maybe you'd rather pay to bypass lines rather than purchase a souvenir t-shirt or mug. Or you're our friend Frybucket over at All Ears who can't sleep until she hits up every single Disney World ride on property during their latest outrageous challenge. So how can you add Genie Plus onto your visit? Well, just use these 6 easy steps. Step 1, open up your My Disney Experience app after midnight on the day of your visit. This is the earliest you'll be able to purchase Genie Plus. Step 2, tap on the My Disney Genie Day option. Step 3, select the Get Disney Genie Plus service, which should be highlighted in purple. Step 4, select the members of your group you want to purchase the service for. Note, make sure everyone in your group is selected before continuing to the next step. Don't want to leave anyone behind. Step 5, review and confirm the details. And step 6, proceed to pay. Though you don't have to purchase your Genie Plus at exactly midnight, I do recommend getting it before 7 a.m. since that's when Lightning Lane selections will go live each day. To pay for an individual Lightning Lane, the process is just slightly different. Instead of getting the Disney Genie Plus service after you tap on My Disney Genie Day, you're going to go over to the tip board instead. Switch over to the park you'll be visiting and scroll down to the ride you want to purchase the individual Lightning Lane service for. After confirming your party, choose the time that you want to ride the attraction. Just remember that your reservation gets you a 1-hour window to return to the ride, so if you reserve it for 10 a.m., you can return anytime between 10 and 11. Individual Lightning Lanes will also go live at 7 a.m. as long as you're a Disney World hotel guest. Otherwise, you won't be able to purchase an individual Lightning Lane until after the parks open for the day. And this is really important because some of those very, very popular rides, they will sell out before the parks open. So that's another reason to maybe stay at a Disney hotel. Next, let's talk about the most important parts of Disney's free app. Before you step foot on Disney World property, we highly recommend you download the free My Disney Experience app. That is, if you want to make your trip 10 times more convenient. You'll be able to use this app to check park times, make Disney Genie Plus ride selections, make dining reservations, check the wait times for the rides, look at park maps, purchase items at select gift shops without having to wait in line. The list goes on and on. This app is crucial to your trip. In fact, it can do many of the same functions that the Magic Band does. So let me backtrack, because some of you might have gotten lost when I dropped Magic Band on you. Magic Bands are these chunky little bracelets you can link up with your park tickets. That way, all you'll need to do is scan your band rather than take your ticket out of your wallet or pocket to get into the parks. They can also be used to open your Disney World hotel room door, charge purchases to your Disney World hotel room, and link PhotoPass photos. It's a mega powerful tool right on your wrist. But this accessory does cost extra, ranging between $20 and $40 per band, depending on the design you choose. The Magic Band is fun to sport around the parks, and the new Magic Band Plus, available now, will have even more features like interactive touch points and lights that sync with the fireworks shows and haptic vibrating sensors. But if you're just looking for something that'll do all the same standard functions as the Magic Band without costing you $20, the My Disney Experience app can do all the same things that a basic Magic Band can do too. I definitely recommend downloading the My Disney Experience app ahead of time to get a feel for all the different odds and ends the app provides, and to get your profile all set up before the big trip begins too. Next, let's take a deeper dive into the dining tip board, because this is brand new to Disney World and it's very helpful. I know I summarized a lot of the different parts of the My Disney Experience app just now, but I need to talk in greater depth about this app's game changer. The dining tip board can help you quickly find where to eat, walk you through making mobile orders for quick service locations, show you where and how to make a last-minute dining reservation, and give you the opportunity to join a restaurant's walk-up wait list when available, which is really, really helpful. This can help save you so much time and keep you from walking over from restaurant to restaurant just to find out the line is way too long or that there's no availability. Just tap, search, and know immediately what's available to you any given time when you're walking around the park. Super, super helpful. And of course, we have to spend a little bit of time in this video talking about Epcot Festivals. What makes Epcot one of the most exciting parks out of the four? Their seasonal festivals. Okay, true. Epcot also has a restaurant that feels like you're actually dining in space, but I'd say the festivals are on par, if not better, than Space 220. Each year, Epcot holds 4 festivals: the Festival of the Arts, which we call Farts, the Flower and Garden Festival, the Food and Wine Festival, and the Festival of the Holidays. Each festival brings with it not only a new theme, but also unique activities and live performances, exclusive merchandise, and tons of food booths. With each festival, we like to put out our best of the fest videos on our YouTube channel, so y'all can see which items were our absolute favorites that year and which might have missed the mark. Not only that, but because we love the Epcot Festivals so much, we've got those updated guidebooks for each new festival on the dfbstore.com website. That'll provide you with over 150 pages worth of festival-specific tips and tricks and reviews. So if you want to study up on the festival that'll be in Epcot when you're there, head to dfbstore.com to grab yourself a digital festival guide. Okay, next big question. What should you do about park hoppers? Trying to decide whether you should visit more than one park on a single day? Let's weigh the options. First, a brief lesson on the art of park hopping. When you add the park hopper option to your otherwise standard theme park ticket, you'll be able to, hop between all 4 Disney World theme parks in a single day. Park hopper hours begin each day at 2 p.m., meaning you must start out in the park you made your park pass reservation for on the day of your visit. Park hoppers can be pricey. Expect to pay at least $65 per day per ticket, but also be prepared for that price to jump up maybe even $20 to $30 extra if you're planning on visiting during a busier time of the year. Yep, that's one of the new surge prices that just happened at the end of 2022. Now, if you're only going to have 1 or 2 days to explore Disney World and you aren't planning on returning to the parks anytime soon, then a park hopper could be well worth the extra money invested per ticket. That way you can see as much of each of the parks as possible in the limited amount of time that you have. But if you're going to be spending, say, a week in Disney World and you fully plan on being in the parks at least 4 of those days, then there may not be a reason to fork over the extra cash for the park hoppers. Park hoppers can be useful for covering a lot of ground in a single go, but if you have the opportunity to spend a full day at any of the parks, then do that instead of paying extra to voluntarily cut those days short. Believe me, you can fill a full day at any of those parks easily, and then some. Now, if you decide to stay in a Disney-owned resort hotel, you may still be eligible for some extra savings that could help knock down the rather intimidating price tag. But there is a catch. Throughout the year, Disney releases limited time savings on their special offers, deals, and discounts page on the Disney World website. Sometimes these deals will be for specific groups of people, like military members, annual pass holders, Disney Visa card holders, Disney Plus subscribers, while other times the deals are available for any and all guests looking to book a room during that certain season. Now for the catch. You have to be responsible for finding and applying any discounts you find on the Disney World website yourself. That's right, you could find yourself making your first expensive mistake before your vacation even begins. Yay! Disney won't automatically apply discounts for guests booking hotel rooms or theme park tickets or vacation packages, even if there's one available, so you'll have to take matters into your own hands. If you haven't made your reservation yet, discount options should pop up at the top of the page when you're selecting your hotel room. However, if you've already booked your trip and you learn about a really good discount after the fact, then you'll need to call Disney's number directly to get in touch with a reservation agent cast member so they can help get that discount applied to your already existing reservation. Now, remember how I mentioned earlier that the Disney World parks can get real busy? When they're so busy that you feel like you can't take a couple of steps without bumping into someone, you might want to step out of the madness and escape somewhere a lot less hectic and a lot more peaceful, even if just for an hour or so. Now, I find myself escaping most often when I'm over at Magic Kingdom and I'm running into too many bottlenecked pathways around the park. I'll just take a monorail over to one of the deluxe resorts and have a nice quiet lunch, maybe at Steakhouse 71 in the Contemporary, and then maybe sit for a spell on the beach side of Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Once you've regathered your bearings, you should be able to re-enter the park, easy as that. So take some time to explore the resort hotels, especially when things are getting a little crowded in the parks, because you know what? The hotels won't be crowded because all those people are in the parks. So good time to go to lunch. And just because you're on vacation doesn't mean you're immune to those splitting headaches or sudden upset stomachs. If you're starting to feel under the weather, or maybe someone in your group tripped and needs their knee patched up, then you should head over to the park's first aid centers. These are hidden gems and a lot of people don't know about them. Each park has their own first aid center, stocked with full-time nurses to help, as well as the most common over-the-counter meds, bandages, Powerade if you find yourself dehydrated, a lot of people do, ice packs, and more. These are gems in the parks. Most guests walk right past them, but if you know about them, they'll help you get to feeling good as new in a jiffy so you can get back to enjoying your vacation. By the way, keep an eye on your family for signs of dehydration. Know what it looks like, know what it feels like, so that maybe if things start to get a little woozy in the parks on those really hot summer days, you can just head over to first aid, grab some Powerade, and sit down for a little while. For the little ones in your group, you may also want to check out the baby care centers that each of the parks have available. These have plenty of diapers and formula, private nursing rooms, and even a place to warm bottles and food. Some of the products they carry will cost you, but it's a super awesome convenience to have on hand whenever you need it. This is also a good spot for overstimulated or potentially cranky kids to cool off and watch some cartoons for a few minutes and just relax. Now, how many different ways can you meet your favorite Disney World characters at each of the parks? Well, there are a lot. The standard meet and greet locations, character dining where you can meet your pals during breakfast, lunch, or dinner, shows and parades, cavalcades and flotillas, even character sightings, which means you'll see free roaming characters just chilling and wandering about in certain areas around the parks. But be careful, you might get starstruck. Needless to say, if you want to meet someone, Disney has ways to make it happen. If you want to know who's going to be meeting and greeting during your time in the park, just turn to your handy dandy My Disney Experience app and check out the rides and attractions tip board for the park you're visiting that day. Not only will this tip board show you the current and forecasted wait times for the rides, but it'll also show you when certain characters are going to be meeting and greeting with guests and where you're going to be able to find them. And of course, you can always ask a cast member. They have lists of who's meeting when and where, and they'll be able to help you out too. And listen, Disney's going to show you a lot of different stuff in their gift shops. Lots of sweatshirts, lots of t-shirts, and they're cute shirts, but they may not be as unique as you were hoping for. Because why blend in with the Disney crowds when you should stand out? So I'm giving a little shameless plug in here for the DFB store where you can check out our complete collection of Disney-inspired tees and sweatshirts before your upcoming trip. Not only are each of our ensembles available in different styles and colors, they're also in different sizes. So if you want to brighten up your suitcase with a Disney-themed shirt that's going to turn heads and support your favorite YouTube channel, check out dfbstore.com after this. Now, most importantly, you don't have to do this alone. I know everything we just talked about sounds like a whole lot to remember, but take comfort in knowing you're never going to have to do this 100% by yourself. First off, if you're going with a group of friends or family members, divide the responsibilities among your travel party. That way, you'll only have a few reservations to be responsible for rather than the weight of the entire trip resting solely on your shoulders. Secondly, if a lot of the responsibility is still managing to fall onto your lap, I understand, consider reaching out to a reliable Disney travel agent. We always recommend Small World Vacations. They know all about the new Disney discounts that can be applied to your vacation to help you save some serious cash. They also give you personalized advice to help you tailor your trip exactly the way you want it to be. Oh, and by the way, they are totally free. You won't pay a dime extra than what you'd normally pay to book your vacation on your own. In fact, you could save money working with a travel agent. Their job is to look out for you, and we've definitely scored some great deals ourselves just by using their services. So I'm going to link their info down in the description below in case you're interested in having an extra planning buddy at your disposal. But lastly, don't forget that we're here too. Along with our YouTube channel, you can also follow DFB for more tips and tricks on our social, website, newsletter, and on through our guidebooks found on DFB Store. Obviously, we're all about the variety here. We're here to help you in any way, shape, or form. That's why we get up in the morning, so don't be a stranger. Ask questions in the comments, keep checking back here for more of the latest Disney travel advice. And now it is time for you to plan your ultimate Disney World vacation with ease. Remember, you can always refer back to everything we talked about today with your own cheat sheet that will send directly to your inbox when you drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/firsttrip2023. Good luck and happy planning, everyone. We'll be back probably tomorrow with another video for you. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.